Go. What is going on, everyone? Welcome to the stream. Anybody that's coming in at this time, thanks so much for taking time out of your day. Spend with little old us. Anybody that's watched the stream after the stream, thanks so much for spending time out of your day. As you know, as it stands, appreciate y'all being here. And we got Jake. What's going on, Jake? How are you today?
Lakers Nation, what up?
That is right. That is right, Lakers Nation. Got a nice little lineup for you today on things that we're going to talk about, things we're going to dive into, things that we will discuss. Yeah, let's start right off with the bang. So, Lakers offseason was pretty crazy. A lot of roller coaster rides, a lot of rumors and speculation. I mean, it's the Lakers, right? So anytime that there is any player that is at least reasonably achievable, Lakers are going to have a connection to it, right? That's just how it works. And so I do think that most of the time, the rumors and speculation and stuff like that is just, it's what it is. It's speculation, it's rumors, it's stuff like that. But every once in a while, you get some stuff that actually does make sense and some stuff that that could potentially happen. And we got some of that this offseason. Like, for example, the Kyrie trade. And I think that would be a good point. And then we could dive into some of the other trades. But the Kyrie trade, I mean, from the beginning, Kyrie, like, there was the talks. Like, is Kyrie going to, opt out of his contract and sign with the Lakers for $6 million and stuff like that? Like, that just seems like something Kyrie would do. Like, they were even reporting on that because he really wanted to go to the Lakers, was just to put pressure on that. And then he opts in. And it's like, well, still, like, he wants to go to the Lakers. If it's not this season, then it's going to be next season. And then you had that whole rabbit hole. But ultimately, it was never going to happen until Kevin Durant was traded to figure out what that was. And as long as he was around, that basically ended the talks. As soon as he said, I'm staying, like the cue the Wolf of Wall Street, I'm not leaving, like as soon as that happened, that was it. Game over. But as far as that trade goes, because look, I don't think it happens. I wouldn't be shocked if Kyrie goes to the Lakers next season. They'll have cap space, stuff like that. They can work it out, sign and trade, stuff like that. There's ways, there's options. But come the trade deadline.
What is his contract right now?
This is last year. So after this season, he will be a free agent. So he could just leave, assuming that the Nets don't offer him an extension. If things are going well, I could see the Nets offering him an extension. But right now, we don't know. And the Nets are a team that I just think they're one bad day away from imploding. And so could that always come on the horizon again? First off, would you, if it was possible, again, just saying, let's call the Lakers, say, hey, we want both firsts and Russell Westbrook for Kyrie Irving. We want you to take Joe Harris too, because that was the original deal. And the reason they want us to take Joe Harris is to clear some salary. So take Joe Harris, take Kyrie Irving. We want Russ, 2 picks, and then like a pick swap or something. Are you doing that deal or are you not?
So we get Kyrie for what? Russ and 2 picks?
Russ, 2 picks, and then call it like a pick swap.
Easy.
So basically 3 picks. And then we take on Joe Harris's contract, which is basically 2 years, $40 million. And then, not each year, but total 2 years, $40 million. And then Kyrie Irving, and we have Russell Westbrook going out.
Oh, easy. No doubt. And I'll tell you why. Because the championship DNA alone, we need that on our team. Because right now on our team, I count 2 players on our – 3. No, 2. I count 2 players on our team right now that have that championship like DNA, that knows what it takes to be on the biggest stage, knows what it takes to get there, make sure that all these games in the regular season, all these like games that we want to wash away, make sure that those count. So I'm taking Kyrie like any day because he's played with LeBron. I know he has some off the court issues and, his views on everything else unrelated to basketball. But when it comes to the court, you cannot deny that Kyrie Irving is a freaking magician when it comes to the basketball court. So like, just that's one thing that like every time he gets on the court, he always performs. He always puts up numbers. And playing with AD, I would like to see that because it's a different type of guard that AD would have to play with. Because AD's never played with an elite guard such as I don't think on a higher as high of a level as Kyrie. So I would me personally want to see that, maybe some lobs. I don't know if AD's gonna be getting up there and throwing it down too much, but no, I would definitely love to see that. Maybe some lob city. You got James coming off the pick and roll, and he shoots a lot of threes nowadays. But no, yeah, I need to see that. And I don't think because unless we could figure out with Russ, and I don't know what we're doing right now in the offseason to try to work out this triangle, but unless we can figure out for Russ, I would love to see a Kyrie. Now, is it worth so I don't know if we should give up if we gave up Russ, would we have to kind of fight through that gel? You know what I mean? So would we have to gel all over again? Kyrie and LeBron, not really, but
the only good that would come of that is of course there's going to be that trial and error period. But
yeah.
Kyrie is just such a natural fit. I don't think it'd be a problem. You know what I mean? Like Russ and AD and LeBron, they really have to figure it out. They're going to have to work their tails off to figure it out, where Kyrie, he knows what he'd be doing there. LeBron's going to fill him in immediately. LeBron's probably going to let him take over the driving seat and be a scoring. You got AD. If they were to ever get Kyrie, I really think LeBron would be the third option, not in the sense of what traditionally a third option
skill set, but
Chris Bosh was a third op. He literally became a third option. Kevin Love stuff. No, I just think LeBron is the most talented, skilled, and intelligent out of all of them. That he's going to get his 20 plus regardless. So it's easier for him to just go get a bucket. Than say an Anthony Davis, a Kyrie Irving. Even I'm not saying that Kyrie can't go get his bucket, but I'm saying LeBron's intelligence is going to just walk him into 20 points a game, and his improved shooting, stuff like that. So I think if there's ever, because that's the big question. People are is it worth giving up everything for him? The mental stuff, how he just takes days off, things like that. My concern would be after LeBron. Because if we got Kyrie, as long as LeBron's there, I don't think we have a problem. Because LeBron will keep him in check. And LeBron knows how to deal with him. And Kyrie himself said he knew he was the one that messed up that relationship. So I think Kyrie would be on his best behavior. But after LeBron leaves, which is sooner or later going to happen, is Kyrie going to still continue to buy in? Because then even if LeBron leaves, you'd still have Kyrie and AD as building blocks. That's a pretty good start. For a rebuild, that kind of thing. So I don't think it would be a problem. I don't. It is something of caution.
Well, would you rather build a team around Russ or would you rather build a team around Kyrie though?
Well, I don't think we'd build a team around Russ regardless. Because after this season, no matter what, unless we win a championship and Russ is a key component in that, I don't think they would keep Russ ever. I think after this season, he's gone and he's going elsewhere.
Because his contract ends this season, right?
Yes. So the biggest question, which we could dive into, would be, and then we can continue on to the trade talk, is the biggest question I think would be, what if Russ works? And what if Russ works really good? What if Darvin Ham figures it out? What if, again, this is just speculate. This is just a best case scenario. I don't necessarily think this will happen, but let's say it does work and it goes great. And let's say they don't make it to the finals, but let's say they lose a tough 7 to the Warriors, right? They play the Warriors in the Western Conference Finals, lose in a tough 7, and things are really good. What do the Lakers do then with Russell Westbrook? Do they just let him go? Or do they say, man, we were right there. Russ was great. We were a missed basket away from being in the finals, or let's say Steph hit a game winner or something. We were a Steph Curry miss away from being in the finals and probably winning a championship with this team. Like that would be the biggest like wrench thrown in I could see, because like I think right now the idea is we either trade Russ at some point this season or we just let him walk and we got the cap space. But if Russ does work, that could be a huge monkey wrench thrown in at just everything. Because do you really let him walk at that point?
I don't know. I don't know. Would you let him walk? Because I see, what kind of season are we talking about? Are we talking about like an average triple-double season? What are we talking about? What kind of season we're talking?
I mean, I don't even need something like that. Like let's say he gives us the 18-7-7, right? That he gave us last year, but like effectively and efficiently, right? Like let's say he's like 45% from the field. He's setting the screens, he's doing all the dirty work, he's playing defense, like basically everything that Darvin Ham wants him to do. Let's say he does that and he still gives you, or let's just call it 15-5-5. Let's say 15-5-5. He is a legitimate third option, playing at both sides of the ball. I mean, I don't think he's ever going to be an elite defender, but playing both sides of the ball and doing the dirty work. Like, what do you do if you're the Lakers at that point? Like,
but two questions though: consistent and clutch. Like, would he be like, okay, with a consistent and clutch? Are you including those things or no?
I mean, well, consistency, yeah. So if he's being efficient and effective, then he's being consistent, right? But clutch, I mean, he's never going to be a clutch guy. He's never going to be a guy. He's not going to be a Kevin Durant or a Kyrie Irving or something like that, which like you have LeBron James, who historically and statistically is the most clutch player of all time. So, and most likely you want LeBron or somebody else to shoot that game winner regardless.
Oh no, you're talking about the game winner. I'm talking about just in like that game 6, game 5 when it matters like highly. Is he keeping up his same performance that he's kept up all year long, or does he kind of like? Okay.
Yeah, I'm saying best case scenario. Let's say all things. Let's say all things go great. Let's say he turns and blossoms as like the third option on this team. He's given us 15-5-5 night in and night out. He has like a 30-point game or a 20-point. He has little things here and there, but for the most part, he is just consistently averaging 15-5-5. It's noticeable. Like the eye test, like everything looks good, and you're like, man, they really made this work. Let's say they're like top 4 seed. They get into the playoffs. They win the first 2 rounds. They're in the Western Conference final. I mean, obviously, if they go to like a finals or they win the championship, which I'm not saying they would, I'm not saying anything like that, but like you never know. I mean, the Dallas Mavericks were in the Western Conference Finals, and look, I like Dallas, but that was a shock to everybody outside of Dallas fans. Nobody thought they were going to be in the Western Conference Finals.
No.
And so like if everything goes well and like you lose a tough 7 or something like that, and like let's say you just steamroll to the Western Conference Finals, or you steamroll through the West period. You're in the finals. Let's say you lose in the finals. Like, do you just not bring Russ back? Or if you win a championship, especially if you win a championship, do you just not bring Russ back? You just say, hey, thanks for the championship. Good luck to you. Like you just won a championship with him.
See, that's a tough one. That's a tough one. I guess it depends on what's available and is it worth giving up the championship chemistry, the championship like DNA that you have on your team at the moment? You know what I mean?
Because the other thing too that would be really good about like if that made up scenario happened, Russ regardless is never going to be a $47 million a year guy. So he would be probably the cheapest option the Lakers would have, because they could probably sign him for 15 to 20 million and he'd be happy. And then you'd still have cap space to improve the roster and do things, especially if you can get him for like 15 million, because Kyrie is going to be all your money. You're going to have to do and maneuver some stuff and figure some stuff out to make the money work to get Kyrie. And Kyrie's probably going to have to take a pretty good pay cut, a pretty good haircut, although if he's leaving the Nets, this is just my opinion, but if he's leaving the Nets, I think he's going to take a pay cut anywhere he goes, because I don't think any team's going to want to give him the max unless it's a team like, like New York just wants him just to have him to sell tickets and stuff. Like, like something like that. Like I could see a team giving him the max. But I look at it, I'm just like, what if that happened? Because all of us just like are on the assumption, like, and I've been very like optimistic about that.
You have.
I've been very optimistic about that. But
you have a lot of hope and a lot of faith.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it's in Russ. I just think he has to be willing to make the sacrifice, make the changes. Humbleness.
Do you think he's getting a little old though? I know he's young, but do you think he's getting a little, up there?
No, I mean, because the problem is I until he starts losing that athleticism, he'll be fine. Like the problem is right now, he's so dependent on the athleticism. He's an athletic freak. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Which is incredible. But eventually you see that stuff start falling off.
Yeah.
So, but I think he's probably got another contract in him after this season. So you're talking another like 3 to 4 years before I think you start seeing a decline. But I just think if it does work, you'd be able to get, you're probably going to get him back for like I said, 12 to 15 million, if not, let's just call it 18 million. You can still free up another like 12 to 15 million. So you could actually go get another guy and then round out your roster. I don't necessarily think that would happen, but it's at least an interesting thought of like, because it is a possibility, as much as people like to pretend like it's not, it is. Like if they work, they could be very scary. Like, it's just, can it work?
Do you have him in your top 5 of the point guards that are playing today?
No.
Out
of like all the point, I mean,
top
I'd have to really think about it, but probably not. Like off the top of my head, I'd probably have like Ja, not in any particular order, but like Ja, Steph. It depends on if you consider Luka a point guard, which he kind of is. So like Luka, guys that. I mean, you could even make an argument LeBron. I know he plays.
Yeah, there's so many like mixed.
Yeah, there's so many of those like point forward guys. Like, so I mean, he might end up being like 20th on my list. But like, I mean, if you can get good value for him and it works, you gotta at least explore that. You know what I mean? Like I said, if it's working and like I said, you make it to a finals or you lose in a tough 7 to like a Warriors or a Clippers or something like that. I mean, it might be worth like looking at, especially if you can get him reasonable. If you can get him for say, 12 million or 15 million or something like that, like that means you could get him, it works now, and you'd have another like 20 plus million to go get other assets. You could go get like a Gary Trent Jr., who is 24 years old, 3-and-D guy, led the league, I believe, in like 30-point games last season or something like that, or he was like top 3, something like that. So I mean, like you could still do like a lot. Because like I said, guys like Kyrie and stuff, that's all your money. Your money's gone if you go get him. And it's just like, but I mean, you're asking for a lot to have him fit to that level. But I mean, it's not. I don't think it's impossible. No, I
can he demand like a max salary? Like let's say let's play the like scenario out. Like they go to the championship, they win. He's that consistent, that third option. He's good for them, and he's arguably the reason that we won a championship. Can he then demand a max? Sorry, will we give him the max? Is I guess the better question because he can.
I don't think he'd ever get a max. I mean, he might try to demand that, but no. I mean, look, if you won a championship, like let's say Lakers win the championship this year, right?
Yeah.
And Russ works fantastic, and Russ wants a max and nothing else, you let him walk. Like even though you just won a championship,
really?
Yeah.
Really?
He's not worth. Like you're talking, his max would be like 50 million a year. Like it's not worth it. Like it's just
not worth potentially another chip though, with all like the schemes that he knows.
No, because there's no guarantee. Like of course not, but if you can get him. If you can get him on a reasonable deal, then like I think it's one of those low risk, high rewards. Not just that, but if you have him at like a 12 to 15 million contract, it would make it easier to trade him. So if let's say the following year it doesn't work, or say LeBron leaves in 2 years or something like that, and now it's just Russ and AD, and let's say AD's falling apart or something like that, like. You don't want to build your team around a like 36-year-old Russell Westbrook, so like that's the problem. That's why it wouldn't be worth the max. But if you could, assuming all goes right and you could get a W and win a title, or like I said, even come close.
Yeah.
I mean, if he's willing to come back for like 15 million, I think you have to at that point. Like, again, assuming everything goes right, which
Now, is this with no backup? You're solely relying on Russ.
Well, I mean, I imagine like they probably re-sign Schroeder if he's nice.
Yeah.
Patrick Beverly would probably come back on a discount. You could probably get him for like 5 million. Like you just see who works. I mean, and
Yeah.
you still, and the thing is, like I said, you'd still have a ton of money. Like if you got Russ for like 15 million, you'd still have anywhere from like 20 to 25 million dollars that you could spend if you needed to. I mean, it'd probably be closer to like 15 million because if you let's say Damian Jones comes back, you have your draft picks. So let's say you don't unload your draft picks, things like that. You got cap holds, stuff like that. So it might be closer to like 15 million, but you can do some finagling if need be to get you whatever money you needed in order to do that. But I think that this is like a sample period for a lot of these guys. And so I think, you see how this team works. If they gel well, you do that. I mean, granted, if you win a championship and like, let's say you win it handily, like, let's say your toughest opponent is like the Warriors. Let's say you beat them in 6, you go to the finals. Let's just say you play the Bucks. Let's say you beat the Bucks in 6, right? I think you keep everybody. Like at that point, like you figure out how to make the money work, stuff like that, because you got to run it back. Like, because not just that, but Rob Pelinka also might be looking at it as like we had a championship team and I blew it apart, and it took us several years to get back to that. So
exactly,
I think that could be tough too. But real quick, let's say hi to some people in the chat. Show some love. What's going on, all things? Appreciate you. How are you?
What's going on?
We got Jay. What's up, Jay? Appreciate you. Jay is awesome. I appreciate you. Thank you. Pedro.
What's up?
Glad you enjoyed the content. Thank you so much for all of you being here, hanging out with us. What's up, guys? What's going on, Rich?
Appreciate What's up,
Rich? Juan T has one as well. Oh, Juan Toscano Anderson. I imagine he's referencing how you're saying 2 guys with championship DNA. Juan Toscano Anderson, that's another good one. He was on the Warriors, won all those championships with the Warriors. But I mean, he wasn't a big. To be fair, like he wasn't a huge factor. I mean, I don't even think he played a minute in the last finals that they won. But he is a guy that definitely knows what it takes. Has been there.
Yeah, I mean, he's been around the culture, been around
He's had a role. But Mr. 81, what is going on?
Hey, what's up?
We're doing wonderful. No complaints. Hanging out, talking to all you beautiful people, talking basketball. Trade as it stands to the Lakers for Russ, please. We really need you. Bad. You're a wing. Not at 6'1". I'm not. I assure you that. Or a little under 6'1". Little short.
Hey! You got a jumper. You never know.
Look, my playing days are behind me. If the question is, can a trade still happen with Westbrook? I'd say no, not before the season starts. A trade not involving Westbrook, very possible, especially by the deadline, but very possible before. Yeah, I think I could see the Lakers very likely making like a smaller move, going and getting like a wing, like a Cam Reddish trade, something like that, just throwing a trade out there. Like I could see something like that happening. I do agree that I don't think we get a Westbrook trade before the season starts. I think the Lakers will at least try to see what ends up happening. But I actually, which we could kind of remember this to transition. I'll come back to this comment in a second to reference this because I think this is a good transition for the next trade thing that I wanted to talk about. Do you guys think Los Angeles Lakers will make it to the NBA Finals if Kyrie and also Buddy Hield and Miles Turner join the Los Angeles Lakers? And also, I've been subscribed since day one. Appreciate you, Marquise. You're awesome. Thank you so much. I don't see a scenario where we can make that happen. There's just not a way we'd be able to get all 3. I mean, absolutely, if we were able to, if there was a way, we'd win a championship. But the problem is like, so if we did the trade for Buddy Hield and Miles Turner, we would have 0 cap space next season. So how do we get Kyrie Irving? The only way we would get Kyrie Irving is if we traded like either Miles Turner, Anthony Davis, or LeBron James. Maybe Miles Turner, but then you don't have Miles Turner and Buddy Hield on that team. They're not trading LeBron. You're not trading AD. So, it just would they be a champion contender? Absolutely. I think that
I mean,
that
we would be a championship contender with Kyrie Irving with added to the
yeah,
squad
just
now,
by
though. So I
himself.
mean,
Yeah, I think so too.
yeah.
Just because of the impact that he has. Like that's the big thing. Like when people ask me, why do you want Kyrie so bad, even with the risk? It's because he's a guy that the impact that he has on the basketball court is just there's very few in the league that have that. Like a guy
Yeah.
that can completely take over a game or change a game or single-handedly win you a game. Or like a game where like LeBron doesn't play. You don't have to worry because you got Kyrie Irving who could go get you 30 every single night.
And
It's
it's
just
scary because he's like a guaranteed bucket. Like it's
oh yeah.
it's really scary. Like his
Yeah.
arsenal is out of this world.
Yeah, absolutely. What team you see Russ playing for next season? I really think he goes to the Wizards. I think
Wizards. Bold prediction. Why?
Multiple reasons. One, the Wizards really need a point guard, a starting point guard. They do have a couple guys, but they're not really point guards. They're more of like backups or two guards that are going to play point guard. They really need a point guard. Secondly, Washington loved Russ, and Russ was really good in Washington. I mean, he averaged a 22-point triple-double. He averaged 12 and 12 off the top of my head, something like that with the Wizards. And him and Bradley Beal basically single-handedly took like a bunch of like nobodies that you can't even name to a playoffs. So they have a much better team now. So I think if he was to go anywhere, I think it'd be the Wizards. I think if he got bought out, not the Lakers aren't going to do that, but like if for whatever reason they did, I think he'd go to the Wizards. That I just think from all for like a Russ perspective to an organizational perspective to like a fan perspective to like everything, Russ to the Wizards make the most sense.
Now this is granted if they don't win the championship this year, because I would say if they win the championship this year, agree to your point. Arguably, you can make an argument to keep Russ depending on what he's asking, what he's willing to get paid. Now, if we don't win the championship this year, I honestly would like to see him go back to OKC. I would like to see that happen.
There's just no need for him
there. There's not. But I'm a fan of, I got to watch the player go back into their hometown or not their hometown, but their team that they started off with. And,
you want the feel good story. I get it.
Well, yeah, like LeBron in Cleveland, as much as, you know what I mean? Like, it's just, come on, you got to smile at that. You told Cleveland, I'll get you a championship. And he went back.
But great question, Pedro. That's 45 plus to figure it out next offseason. Let him go no matter what. I mean, look, I completely understand that. And look, I think that the Lakers would let him go no matter what. But I think they have to at least talk about it. Like, say they win the championship this year. Again, I don't think it's going to happen. But you give me an Anthony Davis, LeBron James, and Russell Westbrook that have figured it out, I like our chances. So, like, if they win a championship, I think it just comes down to how much can you get Russ for. I think if you can get him under 20 million a year, I think you got to run it back and at least try. It's just, but I do think I think ultimately the Lakers would probably just let him go. But I just think it would at least bring a tough conversation.
What if he's like a score leader or something? What if he like leads the team in score?
I mean, he led the team in every category last season except for points. LeBron led the team in points, but Russ was like, second or third? But he led the team in assists, rebounds, I believe turnovers, like even in the bad categories. So I mean, he literally he was solid. It just was a mess. He was just very ineffective is the problem. But yeah, if by some miracle Russ finds a way to fit and become a key asset, he's still no longer getting close to 47. I agree with you 100%, Rich. I was even saying that. Like, he'll never be a 47 million a year guy again. But like, what I'm saying is, like, say best case scenario, because all you ever hear is the worst case, and it's never going to work. It's this, that, and the other. But like, what if it does? Like, you never hear anybody just say, like, what if it does? Like, if it does, like, it's got to be worth the discussion. And he's not going to get 47 million, but he might end up being your cheapest option. And he'd probably like to stay in LA. I mean, it is his home. He's got his family.
Yeah, that's his hometown. Yeah,
he's got everything. Like, so like he might even take the hometown discount and might look at it as like, you give me, 4 years, 12 million a year, something like that. Like, I'll stay. Or
just to stay home.
Yeah, just to stay home. Like, I don't like, because he knows he's not a 47 million a year guy again. But Yeah.
Not anymore, no.
Yeah.
I mean,
Not,
I think
yeah.
those days are past. Yeah, those days
Yeah.
are past.
Those days can't have come and gone. He will not make it past the trade deadline. Lakers knowing there's no contract after this year. Get anything you can from anything. The problem is like it depends on where the Lakers are at the trade deadline. Because like if the Lakers are good, why would you trade him? And unless it's for a Kyrie or something like that. But like let's say the Lakers are like a fifth seed and they're like they actually are pretty good. Not maybe not even championship contender good, but like just they're like solid. They're like a solid team. Like, do you really want to trade Russell Westbrook and for what? Like, like what are you getting back? What are you taking on? Stuff like that. It just wouldn't make sense because now you're ruining chemistry. Who knows what happens if you get to the playoffs? Like if everyone's gelling and things are working, like even if Russ isn't like a superstar for them, even if he's just like kind of like this role player. But if like you're good and you're competitive, I don't see them making a trade. Now, on the flip side of that, if you're terrible, then like why trade Russ at that point? Because you might as well just ride it out, save the salary, get the draft pick. Because like stuff like I mean, although they could claim the pick swap, but hopefully they're not that bad to where it's like a lottery pick. But I just think like you get the asset, you do all that, like, and you take it from there, and you just kind of recalibrate in the offseason. I just like what trade is going to be out there that would make sense come the trade deadline. I think if like a trade, like say Indiana, which is another point topic that I want to get into, but we'll jump into that in a second. We got like 4 more questions that I just want to answer real quick. But let's say we get to like Indiana, I could see them maybe doing a deal like within the first like 20 games or whatever. Just kind of the Lakers kind of just filling it out and seeing how it goes. And then if it's not like, say after 20 games, they're like 10-10 or something like that, being like, all right, let's explore the Indiana trade now while it's still early. I could see something like that happening. But guys, we are forgetting that we have to give Reeves an extension. Assuming they do, you know what I mean? Like, I do think they do, but I think it just depends on the situation. I think it depends on what the offseason entails. We offer Reeves an extension. We won't have the full max slot. Yeah, I mean, look, but I wouldn't be surprised if they renounce his rights and they renounce everything to free up that cap space. Because if the Lakers, whether we agree with it or not, the Lakers believe and have acted as if Kyrie Irving is coming. And if Kyrie's coming, they're not going to let Austin Reeves hold that up. They will ship Reeves out to the highest bidder if it means getting Kyrie Irving. It's just the Lakers, just what they're going to do. Do you guys play NBA 2K23? I could beat both of you guys with the Los Angeles Lakers. I do not play any video games. What about you, Jake?
However, I do play a little bit of NBA 2K3. 2K23. The thing is, like, I am a my player guy. I don't play at my teams. I just play my player. But yeah, I would like to see that matchup. Sounds like a fun matchup.
You're gonna have to duke it out. Jake, do you have your own YouTube channel? Just curious.
I do not. I do not have my own YouTube channel.
Maybe it's in the works. We gotta build up the following here. We gotta grow this channel. And then, hey, maybe you can do a 2K channel. Those things do
great. Right. Spread the word.
Just saying.
I've always wanted to do a gaming channel. So
yeah, see, look, there you go. You do a gaming Lakers sports channel. Anything short of a championship this year, Russ is gone. I agree. Well, I except for like I said, if it's like a tough 7, like say the game's close and Steph makes like a half court 3 to beat you. Like, are you really gonna blow that? Like, it's just like circumstance. Like, you got a shit luck of the dice, so to speak. Like, I just think it depends on how it goes.
Well, I feel like the coaches have it harder. Not necessarily our coach, but like the coaches have it harder where it's like, hey, you made it to the finals. Oh, sorry, you made it to like the Western Conference Finals, but we couldn't get out of the West, so like you're gone. Like I feel like they give players a little bit more slack than they do the coaches. But
yeah, I think it just depends. I trade my soul. Except Riley, you have no soul. That is a supernatural reference, everyone, in case you're wondering. Which seed do you predict the Lakers at as the current roster stands? You want to answer this first?
No, I'm gonna give this one to you.
All right. I see best case scenario, all things healthy, everyone's gelling. I see like a 4 seed. I don't think we'd like let's say everything goes perfect. I still don't think we'd be a 1 seed because look, the Lakers aren't going to care about like seeding. They're just going to care about getting in the playoffs because once you're in the playoffs, you got LeBron James, Anthony Davis, and Russell Westbrook. You're good.
Yeah.
So I think absolute best case scenario, we're probably like a 4, maybe a 3 seed if like, luck of the dice kind of goes our way. I think realistically, we're probably like a 5 or 6 seed right now. Which again,
that's a safe bet.
Yeah, I think we're assuming LeBron's healthy, all that stuff. Like as terrible as the Lakers were last year, if AD and LeBron were healthy a majority of that season, we probably still would have made the playoffs. And this team's much better than last year. So I think we're at least a lock for the playoffs. Again, assuming everyone's healthy, even with Russ, stuff like that. I just think it just comes down to, like where, like, are we trying to fight for like a specific seed, which I just don't see happening. I just think the Lakers are going to look at it. We need, all we care about is LeBron James and Anthony Davis healthy.
Well, yeah, healthy and energized, especially when it comes to like the late season, because I feel like that's been our issue as a team is we get so tired during postseason. Like the season 2 years ago when we went up against the Phoenix, like that series frustrated me because if we just had a little bit more energy, we're getting back on defense. Like we could have came out of that series. It was not that tough of a series, I think, for us to, but hey, I think matter of fact, I'm rare in this opinion, but I think we would have actually got the chip that year.
On the back-to-back, I think so too. Like if AD never got hurt, I really think we would have went back-to-back. I really do. Because we were still really good this year. If the Lakers are a top 6 team near the trade deadline, they won't be a trade till the offseason, especially if it means taking a longer contract. Exactly. I agree with you 100%. Like, if they're in the playoffs, they're not gonna run the risk of ruining it unless it's for, like I said, like say the Nets implode. I don't think this will happen, but let's say the Nets implode and they're like, all right, we need to get something for Kyrie because he's leaving. Then maybe like you do a deal like that, or just throwing a name out there, but say Bradley Beal. The Wizards are terrible. Bradley Beal's like, I got my money. I can be traded now. I want out. Maybe the Lakers do something like that. If he's like, I want to go to the Lakers. I could see something like that happening, but outside of something like that, if they're in the playoffs, they're like a 5 or 6 seed. I don't think they're going to make a trade because it wouldn't make sense for them at all. I can help the Lakers win a championship every year if I was playing for them. I believe in you, Mr. 81. Hey, your name is Mr. 81.
I was like, especially if a name like Mr. 81,
Money. We'll have to see what free agents are available as well this offseason. Yes, agreed.
Very curious.
But all right. Before more questions start chiming in, let's transition here a little bit, and then we could touch on some more questions and stuff in a minute. But one of the things that I wanted to talk about is the Pacers deal, right? And bring back this question where it was like, if the question is, can trade still happen with Westbrook? I'd say no. Not before the season starts. If trade not involving Russ, very possible. So I do think we could get a small trade. But like, when it comes to the Pacers, so we got a report from Bob Kravitz, who is a Pacers like insider, and he works for The Athletic, and he's a very credible one. Like he's one of like the most credible sports guys in the league. And he said that multiple times Miles Turner was supposed to be going to the Lakers, and that they want to get a deal done because they want to get something back from Miles Turner because they know Miles Turner is leaving. Miles Turner, based on reports, doesn't want to be there. He prefers to be traded, but he's going to ride out his contract if he has to.
Yeah.
But if he could be traded, he would prefer to be traded. He has said in the past he wouldn't mind going to the Lakers, stuff like that. So very likely all signs point to Lakers. Now, I don't think the Lakers are going to give up both firsts. I don't think it's going to happen. Otherwise, they would have already done it because the Pacers said that we will do this trade if you just give us both firsts. It's not worth it. I know some people want the Lakers to give both firsts. It's just not worth it. Too many risks. As great as Miles Turner and Buddy Hield is, doesn't solve our wing problem. We have bigs. Although Miles Turner is better than both of them, but still, we have bigs. He's also Anthony Davis insurance, but problem is he's
Well,
coming
that's what
off
I was
of
gonna say. Yeah.
yeah, he's coming off of a season-ending injury. Though supposedly they could have played him. He could have came back, but at that point they were losing, so they just decided to sit him out. Regardless, he still had a significant injury that made him miss time, and he still missed the season. So that's never a good sign. He has an injury history, and he's a flight risk. He's a free agent after this year. So the Lakers, let's say the Lakers give up both picks, they go get those guys. I don't think it makes them that much better. I really don't. I think, say they're a 6 seed now, it makes them maybe a 5th or 4th seed. I still think, Warriors, Clippers, and there's going to be that one of those young teams that are just trying to get the 1 seed because they're young and know nothing better. So I still think we're like a 4 seed. Yeah, could we be really good in the playoffs? Sure. But you have the injury history. You have him just leaving and just saying, I want 20 million plus, and I don't think he's worth that. And you basically give up all your assets, and you're in big trouble. But I do think at some point the Pacers will cave. It just doesn't make sense for the Lakers at that point because the Pacers are never going to get more for Buddy Hield and Miles Turner than they will right now. Because the deeper it gets into the season, the less teams are going to get involved because teams are either going to be terrible and want to tank, or they're going to be good and they're not going to want to mess up chemistry unless they truly believe Miles Turner is the missing piece to make them win a championship this year. I don't see that happening. So they're never going to
get for us. No.
Yeah, no. Not for us. I mean,
for other teams, maybe, yeah. But
I mean, it just depends on the team. Because here's the thing: most of the contending teams have their center. Like the only team I could see is like the Brooklyn Nets, but who are they trading for? Like it's just, and they've wanted Miles Turner for some time. So I could see the Lakers kind of like we talked about earlier, giving it like 20 games or something like that, seeing where we're at. And then if it's not working, then maybe pulling the deal for Miles Turner and Buddy Hield. Also, another thing too, you got to imagine the Pacers want to do a deal before the season starts because like, what if Miles Turner, who has an injury history and has been injury prone, what if he gets hurt like 10 games into the season? Then there goes any chance of you trading him. And that's what I'm saying. I don't think you're ever going
now, is it confirmed? Is he playing this season or no?
Yeah, I mean, he's at media day, all that stuff. Like, yeah, he's playing. Like the owner for the Pacers said, he's our starting center for this upcoming season, all that stuff. But
and they need help right now. The Pacers need help. That's why they want the 2 first-round picks.
Well, yeah, I mean, they're a rebuilding team. They're a young rebuilding team. They have potential, but they're years away from being like
a championship contender.
Let alone probably even a playoff team. So, I mean, if you're the Pacers, you almost want to get the deal done before the season begins. But I don't think the Lakers are going to give up both first. And I just think, like, what are your other options right now? Because they would sell Miles Turner this time last month if they could have. They're just not nobody wants to give up what they're asking for, which is understandable. Again, any team,
not for an injury-prone player. Nobody does.
Not for an injury-prone player, and not only an injury-prone player, but a guy that is a flight risk that could just leave. He could literally just leave you after this year, and then you're shit out of luck, and you're up a shit's creek without a paddle.
And not to mention he's no Zion. You know what I mean? He's no Blake. Like it's like
he's no major impact player. Yeah,
exactly. I mean, Zion. It would be different if the conversation was Zion. It's like, yeah, Zion's injury prone, as we've seen at this level, unfortunately, but
healthy his impact is
exactly.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like Turner's his impact is not enough, but it is that I think at this point is the most, if a trade were to happen, I do think the Pacers deal is the most likely to happen. But I don't see one happening now. I mean, I would love it if it did. But I just think at this point, Lakers are ready to go into the season with Russ. Unless they just panic, like I said, 20 games in, they just panic and go end up doing that deal.
I think 20 is early though, 20 is early to still,
Yeah, I mean, but the problem is if you're like, say you're like, 5-15, Like it might be time to pass. If you're like 11-9,
Yeah.
if you're like 11-9, okay, like let's see what you could do. But like if you're terrible,
Which I
you
wanted
might
to
be better.
ask.
Yeah,
How many games do you see us winning
this
this year?
season,
Yeah.
I think we
Because
win at least
I got
50
my
plus.
prediction. I want to see what 50 plus. Okay.
Yeah, I'd say probably 52 to 55 games, which would put us somewhere in like the 6-4 range.
I'm gonna go a little bold, and I'm gonna say we win. I'm gonna say we win 60 games this year.
Okay, that would put us as like a 2 seed, a
Oh
1 or
yeah,
2 seed. So you're
yeah.
very optimistic.
Well, I think I don't know. I think you're rubbing off on me. I think your optimism is rubbing off on me. I think we could. I think we could shock the West. Like just yeah.
I wouldn't be shocked. Like, so look, I think the Suns completely implode. Just with everything going on, the whole Sauver situation with the owner. I think DeAndre Ayton clearly doesn't want to be there. I think beyond,
Oh, we would take Aiden.
yeah, I'd love to get it, but yeah, like beyond that, like you have the whole Jay Crowder mess that's going on right now, all of that stuff. I just think, I think the Suns really take a step back. I still think the jury is out on like the Timberwolves. I don't think the Rudy Gobert trade really makes them that much better. I just, the only teams that I really worry about it are the Warriors and the Clippers. Outside of the Warriors and the Clippers, I just
So you don't the Mavs. You're not really.
not worried about the Mavs. I'm not worried about Denver. I'm not worried about like
Is
like I
Luka
said,
getting
the
help this season?
Grizzlies. You said what?
Is Luka getting help this season?
Yeah, I mean they made some nice moves. They got Christian Wood, who's a solid guy.
Okay.
I mean they got some nice little pieces that I think will make an impact. But I'm not worried about them. I think we match up great against them. I think that they are a little small. They're basically a get hot or lose type team, and that's basically what they were. That's how they essentially made it to the finals, or not the
Well,
finals, but the
they
Western
fell
Conference.
apart.
Yeah,
Yeah, they fell. Yeah.
well, because they weren't able to light it up like they did last. I mean, if you watch the Suns get like when they blew the Suns out, they couldn't miss. I mean, they have a bunch of like really good shooters, but they are literally a team that lives by or dies by the three. So I'm not worried about them. Not worried about the Grizzlies. Not worried about like I said, the Timberwolves, the Pelicans. Like I'm not really worried about any of those teams. So that basically just leaves the Warriors and the Clippers. And I think we match up well against both of them. Like I think the Warriors' Achilles heel has always been size. The Lakers have plenty of size.
Yeah.
They don't really have it on the wing, but they got plenty of bigs. They don't have an answer for AD. So if you get a dominant AD, I like our chances with that. We have a ton of like point guards to just throw at Steph and Clay. So we got tons of guards to just kind of try to wear them down over a 7-game series. I'm not saying we beat them, but I'm saying like I wouldn't be shocked. And then the Clippers have like Zubac as like their only center, and then outside of that, like that's it. They have like a ton of wings, but like I was even saying like, I could see like what I would do if I was the Lakers is just like so. Kawhi plays the 4. Let's say you're gonna have AD guard Kawhi, and then you're gonna win the matchup down low at center because they literally only have Zoo, and you're good. And then the point guard and shooting guard play, I think we're fine. And so the only thing would be the wing. So say Paul George, but I think one with Paul George's history and just like just the way he plays and stuff, I think you can wear him down. So like what I would do is I would just
him and Kawhi.
Exactly. But like what I would do is I would just throw bodies at him and always have a fresh pair of legs just in him, bumping him, just making it difficult.
Yeah.
Lonnie Walker, JTA, Austin Reeves, even have Pat Bev, like all of these guys.
I love Reeves.
Just constantly just have them in his chest, just wearing them down over. It's hard to do, on a one-night matchup, but it's not over a 7-game series. Over a 7-game series where you're playing like you just keep every 10 minutes you're subbing somebody out to just guard Paul
Yeah.
George. He's got to deal with he's only one person, so
Yeah.
he's got to deal with that. I mean, you're not going to stop him, but can you wear him down to where you get to a game 7 and he just doesn't have the legs to carry the team, and
Yeah.
you're just wearing him down. Like that's that's the only thing. Those are the only two teams that I really have concerns with, but I think we
Yeah.
match up well against both of them. And look, I'll never believe in the Clippers until they prove to me otherwise. Every year since the last 10 years, since Lob City and all that stuff, every year is their year, and they've been out of the second round once. So
Yeah.
it's like I can't believe, like, we might not even have to play Paul George and Kawhi Leonard if we were to meet in the playoffs because they might be out by then. So it's
Yeah.
just like, it's just I don't know.
Conspiracy theory for you. A question. Do you think if John Morant doesn't get injured in that last series last year against the Warriors, do you think the Warriors still win a championship?
Yeah. I think they
I agree with you, but I just want to see what you thought.
Yeah, no, I think they made it. I think they would have made it a tougher series, but I still.
Yeah.
So the reason I said from the beginning that the Warriors were going to win that series, same reason I said that they were going to beat Boston. Their experience is huge because, like, and you saw that in like the Boston series specifically, like they just, no matter what, whether they're up 40 or they're down 40, they just play the same exact game. They are so consistent. And the problem is that a lot of teams don't do that. So you see it all the time.
No.
Like a team will run and operate a certain way, jump out to like a 20-point lead, and then just completely abandon what they were doing to get them the 20-point lead.
Yeah, or they start losing and they start getting beat, and then they're like, well, like abandon game plan, and they just never, they just don't stick to their game.
Exactly. So that comes with the lack of experience and youth and stuff like that. The Warriors, they've seen every situation possible because they've been there so many times. So they get down 20, they're not worried about it. Where like a team like the Grizzlies, they're down 20, they think the game's over. They're scratching and crawling and doing whatever they can to try to get back into that game, where the Warriors are just like, if we keep playing our game, we're gonna win. And
not to mention they've been down 20 against a
3.
LeBron team. That's like one of the worst case scenarios you could dig yourself into. Like, it's just, especially in the Miami days. I mean,
especially in that days. But I do. I think that the Warriors and the Clippers, I think, are the only two teams that I really have like concerns with. But now let's jump into a couple more questions, and then we'll hit on the other two trades that I want to talk about, and then we'll get on out of here. AD and Bron have a 70% win rate together so far. Yeah, I mean they're a model of consistency when it comes to them. The two of them aren't my problem. It's can Russ end up working is the biggest problem. What is your deepest fear? You don't have to answer that. It's okay. It's just Blucka. Hi, Blucka. I love your kisses. Loves your content. Keep it up. Thank you so much, Mr. 81. We appreciate it.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah. If Russ plays well, Bev will be traded at the beginning of 2023 for a Wayne. I mean, they can't trade him at the beginning of. I mean, you talk about like January, like before the trade deadline, then yeah, possibly. But I don't know. I think it just depends on who's meshing.
I don't think we should trade Bev though. I mean,
I think Bev is going to be huge for the Lakers. I think people really need that. How important Patrick Beverley is going to be for this team. And if you go
the intangibles for me.
Yeah. Well, and if you go look up his win percentage, it's insane. Like he accounts for large percentages of winning on every team he's been in. So, I mean, he has like a visible impact. So, I think they would trade like a Lonnie Walker or or somebody like that before, maybe even Schroeder or something like that before they trade Pat Bev, personally.
Because that's what they need. They need those intangibles, the aggression, the get in your face, the I'm gonna be right here. I'm not. Yeah, they need all that.
Yeah, you need a guy that'll tell the team to go F themselves if they're messing up. Lonnie and Winnan together is 8 million plus the 125% rule can get us a decent win at the deadline, probably with the second round pick too. I think it just depends on who's available. I also think dogs are barking in the background. Sorry about that. They'll stop in a second. But I think it just depends on what's available, what's out there at the trade deadline. Is anything reasonable? Is anything worth it? And it depends on if we pick up a wing before. Like very likely we could see Mo Harkless, Rudy Gay, guys like that end up getting bought out. And then at that point, you basically got the board covered. You're good. So then you don't really need a wing. Not just that, Winning Gabriel might end up being our wing. So Winning Gabriel 6'9", and yes, he's played power forward, small ball center. But the one thing the Lakers wanted him to do was improve his three-point shooting so he can play the three. And according to Winyan, all he had done this offseason was watch tape and shoot the three ball to make himself be able to do that. And the Lakers told him the only way we're going to bring you back and renew your contract or opt in your contract is if you show that you can do that. So I imagine the Lakers did their due diligence. I imagine the Lakers actually said, okay, we want to see you knock down threes. So, I mean, it's just something to keep an eye on, and Winyan,
those corners, like three specialists, I'm telling you,
they're key. They're important. Giving Matt Peralta a run for his money with that optimism. Talking about Matt Peralta is from Lakers Nation. I don't know if you're familiar with Lakers Nation, but they're like the big like marquee Lakers channel on YouTube. They're great. Trevor Lane, all that stuff. Shout outs to them. But yeah, Matt Peralta, his nickname's the Optimist, Matt the Optimist Peralta. And sorry, I dropped something. And so he's always like overly optimistic. So that's the comment to like you saying that they win 60 games. Lakers win 80 games this season. I said it. Hey, 82-0. 82-0. If LeBron and AD played 65 games together, we could theoretically win 46 games just from that. Remaining 17 games could go 9-8 and 155. That's kind of my thinking. Like I think that they win around 52 to 55 games. I think if like you said, if they play 65 games together, I think there's going to be a couple games so say LeBron and AD. I think this team's good enough to squeeze out a couple wins without LeBron and maybe without AD, depending on the matchup stuff like that. That's the only thing. So I think they win around like I said, between 50 and 55 games, which would put them in that like 6-4 range. Depending on where they're at. So that's why I think they'll very likely be 6-4, somewhere around there. Worry about AD's weak legs. And a lot of people are, believe me. He said he wants to play all 82 games. I don't think that happens. Even if he wanted to, I don't think that happens. But I don't know. I want to give him the benefit of the doubt. Clippers and Nuggets, to me, are our biggest challenge. I'm not really worried about the Nuggets. I mean, the Nuggets on paper look fantastic, but we just seem to.
I'm curious about that one
because I mean, they do have a really good team, and they got KCP. They fixed their biggest issue, which was like wing depth and 3-point shooting, getting KCP and stuff like that. But I'm not really worried about it. It's just the problem is the Nuggets are just too dependent on Jokic, and because of that, you can wear him down, and he gets worn down. We see it time and time again. Like that even happened in the Lakers series the last time they met in the playoffs. He just, by the time they got deep, like he was just done. Like he couldn't fight anymore. And all these teams know that, so they just wear him down over and over, unless we play him in like the first round. But even then, like we've always just seemed to have the Nuggets number when it counts. So I don't know. I don't really worry about them, but you never know. I love your optimism. They have no answer for AD. They don't. Who's Draymond? Draymond has had some success against AD, but AD's averaged 27 a game against the Warriors. So I mean,
you just look at the physical height just there. Okay. he had a little bit of success with LeBron, but there's a big difference between LeBron and AD in terms of like height and in terms of like physical strength. You know what I mean? Because like Draymond is what? How tall is Draymond?
He's
I know
like
he's not
6'8".
exactly. So like it's not yeah, no. I mean to stop AD, the Warriors would have to just throw everybody they have, but then you're gonna leave Braun open, you're gonna leave Russ open, you're gonna leave, just mistakes you don't really want happening.
So for his career against the Warriors, and he's played 24 games against the Warriors, he has averaged 25 points, 12 rebounds, and 3 assists. Like I said, they've never had an answer for Anthony.
Yeah, he averages a double-double every time.
So let's see, what is his average for the Lakers? Because that's where he's at right now. So yeah, he's basically averaged 27 a game. So since he's been on the Lakers, he's played them 5 times. He's put up 27 and 10 and 4, 23 6 and 1, 17 17 and 7, 33 11 and 2, and 16 7 and 4. And like that, he's absolutely dominated them. One of those games, he only played 25 minutes. And he put up 23 points. That's what I'm saying. Like they have no answer for Anthony Davis. They never have. He's always been able to, because they've never had the height to keep up with him. So they don't have an answer for him.
And Draymond has only averaged, I mean, Draymond's not a high scorer regardless, but he's only averaged 7.8 during like against the Lakers. So it's, you know what I mean?
Yeah, because
it's not,
he got AD guarding him.
it's not really comparable. And that's why like the thing is, if the Warriors get a really scary dominant big, they become kind of like, like they
well, that's what they're hoping Wiseman turns into. Yeah, because he'll be back. But I don't know. We'll see.
I know you heard those AD Warrior rumors. I know you heard those.
I mean, they're always like, AD ain't going anywhere until LeBron leaves. They can literally do the same to AD, beat him down so much easier. Problem is, teams don't have the size to do that. Like, which team has the size to just throw big bodies and just sizable body? Like, most teams don't have 4 power forwards that are 6'10", 6'11". You know what I mean? Like, that's the difference. Like, yeah, like Paul George at like 6'8", 6'9", whatever he is, like him, you can throw several, like Walker has a 6'10" wingspan, so he has the length to guard him. You got, like to go 2 inches.
Or like a Giannis.
2 inches body, stuff like that is not the same thing as like, AD plays a position where most teams don't have like several 7-footers. And you could throw a bunch of like 6'7" guys at him, but they're not going to wear him down the way that you would throwing like a bunch of like 6'10" guys at him. You know, like it's just, that's the thing. That's why nobody's been a great example were the Suns. The Suns tried to do that and it didn't work. Like the Suns were trying to, because they didn't have enough guys big enough and long enough to make it difficult. So he was just shooting over everybody. He's just bump this guy, boom, and I'll just shoot it over.
I mean, Aiden's not going to get it done.
He's not going to be able to stick with him. But Warriors are the only team I fear in the West in a 7-game series. Clippers and Nuggets are unproven. What ifs? Yeah, that's basically kind of my point too. So I'm with you. What's going on, Ghostface Fanatic? I appreciate you. Thank you so much for being here.
What's up, Ghostface?
What do you think about the rumors about Steph and Clay getting traded to the Lakers? Do you guys think that's possible at all in the future? I don't think that'll ever happen. Especially Steph. Steph is never leaving. Steph is never leaving the Warriors. Clay, I could see Clay end up leaving or getting traded at some point. But
to the Lakers or just traded?
I mean just in general, not necessarily to the Lakers. But Steph ain't ever going anywhere. He's just
and like Draymond asked him on. They have just so Draymond has his podcast. Shout out to Draymond. But he asked Steph on there, and he said like, would you ever consider playing with LeBron? And Steph pretty much, without trying to shut it down completely, he pretty much just said no. Him and LeBron are just, they're pretty much arch enemies at this point. They're great friends, but exactly, it's not and that's not something he's gonna go do is play with a rival. That's just not in Steph's DNA.
It'd be like Bird and Magic teaming up.
That would be weird.
It's not gonna happen. But to round out the show, the last thing I want to talk about is Utah. Utah seemed like the most likely scenario. And to be honest, Utah could still technically be the most likely scenario just because like they need to at least get rid of 3 guys. Problem is that they traded Bogdanovich, and Bogdanovich was the only piece that really made sense for the Lakers. So that became a problem. But
to give AD some help or
just the packages. So like so there were I mean the rumored package was like Mike Conley, who doesn't make any sense anymore.
Okay.
Jordan Clarkson doesn't make sense anymore.
No.
And then Bojan Bogdanovich, who or Bujan, or however you pronounce his name, Bogdanovich, who is, he fit perfectly because he could play the power forward, he could play the small forward. He was like a 50, 40, 90 player. Not really good defensively, but at least tries. But his shooting is just impeccable. The guy shoots like 40% from 3. He would have been perfect next to LeBron and stuff like that. And then the other one is Malik Beasley, who is a young 3-and-D guy, 24 years old, but he's only like 6'4". So now at this point, it's like the only thing that's left would be Mike Conley, who I wouldn't have mind taking on at all until we got Schroeder. Now it's like, even if we get rid of Russ, we don't need 4 or 5 point guards. We just don't need it. Jordan Clarkson doesn't make any sense with this team, especially when you got guys like Walker, Kendrick Nunn, stuff like that. Jordan Clarkson, though, is on a reasonable contract, could be a trade piece. Maybe flip him to go get a wing type player. And then the other piece would be Beasley, who I do think Beasley would be nice because you'd have a natural shooting guard, a guy 6'4", so he's got some size, good wingspan,
quick, athletic,
young 3-and-D guy, rather than making Patrick Beverly, who's really a point guard playing the 2 guard, stuff like that, or Kendrick Nunn playing the 2 guard. You just have that natural shooting guard, and that was the deal before the Bogdanovich trade. Bogdanovich was traded to the Detroit Pistons, and for like literal peanuts. It made no sense. But that's a weird
trade?
The Pistons deal still doesn't make any sense. But they do need to unload guys, and the Lakers could use guys. I don't see them getting rid of Vanderbilt, who would be the real prize. So outside of that, it's just basically guards. Would you unload Russell Westbrook to get those guards to just basically essentially unload Russell Westbrook? That's basically what that trade would be, just to unload Russell Westbrook. Yeah, you get a Mike Conley, stuff like that. Like, let's say you don't have to give up any picks, because at this point it's not worth any picks. Like, let's say we're just doing the Jazz a favor. Maybe we give them like a second round or a couple second rounds as just like a thank you. But no, at this point, no first. I ain't giving you any first, because we're solving all your problems. You're not getting a first. The one guy we wanted, you got rid of. Would you do that? Say Mike Conley, Jordan Clarkson, and Malik Beasley for Russell Westbrook.
See, that's tough. That's tough. I'm gonna go with no on that one, actually. Even though I guess you could say my pessimism against Russ, I'm gonna go no. I'll still keep Russ. I think you're right. We don't need 51 point guards who can all do essentially the same thing.
Yeah.
When we have Russ, which is gonna Russ is gonna do what all of them can do in just one player, and we're just gonna, and not to mention every player in that trade, like there's not a big, right? There's just all they're all
it's literally all be guards.
Exactly.
Jordan Clarkson, Mike Conley, and then Malik Beasley. The tallest player is, I guess, technically Jordan Clarkson at 6'5", but
it would make sense if there was a 7-footer in there, or like, someone who could help AD out, but it doesn't make sense just to get a whole bunch of guards. Young guards maybe, because then you could just run the floor and just literally just outrun teams to death. But
like I said, I mean, Beasley would be the only player in that makes sense, because like I said, you'd get a legit 3-and-D shooting guard that could start. That's got like a traditional shooting guard size. So that I think makes a lot of sense. But Conley doesn't make sense, and you're taking on his contract, which, granted, next year only like half of his contract is guaranteed, which is like 14.5 million. But still, you still have to pay that, or you have to trade him or something like that if you want a Kyrie or something. So it basically ruins your cap flexibility. And then Jordan Clarkson, he can opt in. And if he does, then there's even more of your cap flexibility. But Jordan Clarkson, I think, could be used as a trade chip. Now, if the Lakers could line up a deal to where they could get, say, like a Cam Reddish from the Knicks, 3-and-D young, 6'8", 7'1" wingspan type small forward, could play the power forward too. Somebody like that. Big question mark as far as like what his impact would be, but he's younger than half the guys that were drafted this year. He just hasn't gotten a fair shake. He was drafted by Atlanta. Atlanta immediately went and got a bunch of veteran wings and tried to compete immediately. So he was the odd man out. They end up trading him to the Knicks, and the Knicks didn't really want him. And Tibbs doesn't like him. Tibbs doesn't want to play him because Tibbs wants to go with the other guys he has. And so again, he's kind of the odd man out. Where on the Lakers, I think he would definitely play. So if you could work something out to where you could flip like a Jordan Clarkson for Cam Reddish, then maybe, because then you're getting a shooting guard. You're getting a point guard, but you're losing Russ. So now you get your shooting guard, you get a point guard, and you're getting a small forward, power forward. I think that would make more sense.
It would help us out more defensively.
Yeah, you get more flexibility.
Someone to get in there, fill up room, fill up lane space. Yeah. We all know defense wins championships, so
absolutely facts. But all right, we'll answer a couple more questions, and we'll skate on out of here. We got a couple more from Ghostface Fanatic. I think Steph Curry will stay with the Warriors probably until he retires, but he could definitely see Clay leaving. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I could see Clay at some point, kind of being the odd man out. But Steph. And the thing about Steph that makes it a luxury is that Steph, even at age 50, he's still going to be a good shooter. So you could have him just you could eventually get to the point where if he wants to play, he just comes off the bench and is just a spot up shooter. Because he's not gonna lose his shooting. He's not, the beauty of Steph is like he's gonna
be like Ray Allen just in the corner.
Yeah, exactly, like a Ray Allen in his later years. But he's not an athletic type of player where like Russ. Like Russ sooner or later is gonna lose his athleticism. So you don't. So like at some point he's gonna be irrelevant. But Steph doesn't rely on any athleticism. He's not like that's what the big knocks on him is that he's not very athletic. So I don't see that big thing.
And he beefed up in the offseason this last year. He got I don't know if you saw, but he got bulky. He got kind of strong.
Getting buff. How do you guys feel about Russell Westbrook? I know people say he sucks because of his air balls, but what are you guys' thoughts on Russell Westbrook? You want to start?
So I think Russell Westbrook is a great player, for one. I think that he needs to just figure out his role in the Lakers. So he needs to just really figure out like where he belongs, what his job is, and what's his role. Because right now, like you kind of mentioned earlier, right now is you're kind of just throwing him in there. But like you need to have a designated assignment for him, or just let him run the show. But then if you let him run the show, that means LeBron needs to, kind of like take a back seat a little bit, but not really a back seat. He's still running the offense, but just necessarily off the ball, and AD is kind of a third option or however. But I think Russ, he was just accustomed to him being the sole guy. So back in OKC, it was just him, like even when he played with KD, it was mostly just him. He made the decisions, he made the bad decisions, the good decisions. And there was times where I've watched footage and you can see KD just like, pass me the ball, but Russ is being Russ. And then Russ is like, no, if I'm just going to drive down, full speed. And that's just him. So I think he's an okay player. I think he's a good player, but I don't think when it's all said and done, I don't think he will be in the top 30. But I think for right now, I think he could work possibly for a championship. So,
all right. Yeah. Look, I think Russ is still a really great player. He's just a very specific player. Um, like I think a lot of people have recency bias on Russ because of last season. Um, but he's still like I mentioned earlier, he still led the team in every statistical category. He still like averaged 18, 7, and 7, as terrible as he was last year. And he wasn't that far off from his typical field goal percentage and stuff. It's just he wasn't very effective. Um, that's the goal, is getting him to be effective on this team, which I do think they can do. I do think it's possible to happen. I just think a lot of people look at Russ and go, oh, like they just, it's one of those things. What have you done for me lately? And I think that that's what it is. Like people are looking at it like, well, last year he was terrible, so he must be falling off. And it's like, no, fit is a very important thing. Like, fit, coaching, stuff like that. There's a reason that the best basketball players in the world that get paid hundreds of millions of dollars all still have coaches, because coaching is very important, very important, stuff like that. So, but yeah, again, great question. Is Russell Westbrook a Hall of Famer to you guys? Because I definitely can't see, because his terrible shot today. Oh, absolutely. I mean, he's a top 75 player all time. He's had one of the greatest decorative careers ever.
Yeah.
It's just, yeah.
He's a Hall of Famer, definitely.
Hands down.
Yeah.
Especially the way that some of these guys get into the Hall of Fame. You just got to be like half decent now. Like Russ is a really good player, but Rip Kobe, greatest of all time. Kobe is amazing. Yes, R.I.P. But we're going to skate on out of here. I appreciate all of you so very much for hanging out with us. Taking time out of your day, out of your night, all that stuff. If you're not subscribed to the channel, subscribe to the channel. Trying to grow this channel, trying to grow this audience. Tell a friend, tell a cousin, sister, uncle, dog, whatever. Let somebody know about the channel. Help us grow.
Smash the like button.
Yes, hit that like button. It really does help during the stream. It helps after the stream to get people to watch after. Jake's going to get clips up tomorrow. And so make sure you check out those clips and stuff, especially for somebody that came into the stream later, so you don't miss anything, things like that. But all in all, appreciate all of you. Jake, I appreciate you. Anything else you want to say to anyone?
No, thank you guys. No, like you said, definitely smash the like button, subscribe, tell everybody, tell all of your dogs, tell all of your coworkers, tell everybody you know.
Let them all know. But that being said,
see you guys Friday.
Yes, we will see you all Friday. Again, every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 7 p.m. Pacific time, 9 p.m. Central time, 10 p.m. Eastern time. And once we get into the season, which starts in a little over a week, we'll be able to do like pregame and stuff and kind of give our thoughts and stuff. So look forward to that, and we will see you all in the next one. Thank you.